Thank God for the lighthouse. Lord, I owe my life to Him. You see, Jesus is the lighthouse. And from the rock of sin, and God His light of love around me. And I really see what it wasn't for the lighthouse. Tell me where would my defeat? Church, say praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Turn your Bible to 1 Timothy chapter 2. First Timothy chapter 2. And verse 8 says, I will therefore that men pray everywhere, lifting up holy hands, without wrath and doubting. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broided hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works. The Bible says that we ought to be holy in body and spirit. But I think that sometimes we don't understand that there's more than one way to communicate. More than one way that God looks at communication. I just want to talk to you for a moment about when the body speaks. If you ever watch the news or you've seen the presidential debates or people on trial or things of that sort, after it's over with, they have a panel. And what this panel does, it sits there and it discerns the speakers or all those that were participants in the certain event. And what they're doing is that they are reading the body language. If you've ever noticed that. They are looking at their positions, their gestures, their face expressions, and they're reading the body language because they know that the body can talk. Amen. When your body speaks. We see here in Paul is encouraging Timothy that men pray everywhere, lifting up holy hands without wrath and doubting. What does a holy hand look like? What does a hand of wrath and doubt look like? Well, I guess those who have eyes to see can discern when someone lifts up their hands what spirit it is of. The reason why your body speaks is because it expresses what's going on in the inside. Amen. I feel a virtue. Amen. I feel a virtue. And so, the Bible talks about a man who kills an ox in the sacrifice like he's slaying a man. He takes the axe or the knife and he goes through the normal procedures of slaying the beast. And he kills the beast. But the manner in which he kills the beast had a presence on it. The way in which he cut the beast, someone would look and say, as God did, he's killing that beast as though he's killing a man. Because in his body language, it was more than just slaying a beast for food or for sacrifice, but there was an extra something to it. As though you may say, you see the way they shook your hand? There was something to it when the body speaks. God, they talk about this as though it's unique. But there's nothing new under the sun. God taught us 4, 5, 6,000 years ago that the body speaks. Amen. When Cain killed Abel, the Lord said, before Cain killed Abel, when they offered the sacrifices, God accepted Abel's sacrifice but refused Cain because it was the wrong one. And remember the scripture? God said to Cain, why are you angry? And Cain said, I'm not angry. God said, yes, you are. He read his body language. Your countenance deceives you. He said, your facial expression shows that you're angry. When the body speaks, what is your body saying? What is your gesture saying? You see, we talk all the time without even uttering a word. Amen. But we're still speaking. Mm-hmm. The Bible talks about the woman that flattered with her eyes. When the Jews were in captivity, and Haman, which was the right-hand man of the king during the time of Esther, would walk through the streets, and everybody bowing down to him. There was one Jew by the name of Mordecai. He refused to bow. He didn't say anything. He just didn't bow. And Haman would walk back and he would be furious, angry. He'd go home and fuss and he would argue. You thought somebody had said something to him, but nobody said a word. But yet, somebody did speak. His body spoke. When Mordecai refused being a Jew, he refused to bow. He made a big statement. I'm not humbling myself to you. When David was running from the priest, and he lied to the priest and said that he was on a mission from the king, I need food. So the priest helped him. But when David was running, he saw an Edomite, which was of the seed of Esau. The son that God said, Jacob I love, but Esau I hate. The one who sold his birthright. And David looked and saw this man, but he saw something that wasn't quite right. And he hesitated. But he kept on. Word got out. David, King Saul, killed all the priests. When Saul said to the priest, why did you help David? They said, how did we know David was lying? He's the most faithful servant. We didn't know. So he told these soldiers to kill the priest, but they also spoke without saying a word. They couldn't rebel against the king, so they spoke in action. They stood in attention. The king said, kill the priest. And their bodies spoke. What were they saying? We can't do that. These are the priests of the Lord. Come on, king. But they didn't say anything. You got a problem with me? No, I don't have a problem with you, yeah, but the way you moved when I said that says you got a problem. Or something's wrong. When the body speaks. But that Edomite, he said, I'll kill him. And he took swords and led men down, those of his father, and he killed the whole tribe, some 80 priests. And the word got back to David that the priests were killed, and that Edomite killed him. David said, I knew it when I saw him. In other words, he read him that you couldn't trust him. Paul said in like manner in Timothy that the women adorn themselves in modest apparel, shamefaced and sobriety, not with braided hair elaborate hairdos that covers any hairdo that you want to present yourself to for outer appearance. Elaborate hairdos that covers the curly hair, set hair, the weaves, you name it, the dyeing of the hair for outer appearance, all of that, or gold, or pearls, or costly array. But which becomes women professing godliness with good works. In other words, women professing godliness doesn't dress like verse 9. The reason why God talks about it like this, because no flesh shall glory in his presence, number one. Because it didn't help the angels in heaven. How much more could man not stand the glorifying of the outer appearance? Amen. And the word not with, it means God forbid. Make no mistake, when we teach on holiness and adorning the outer appearance for the purpose of holiness and not to be seen, the adorning of yourself to be seen, which your body shows and says, look at me, God forbids. Amen. He forbids it. That's what that word says. Let it not be. It means God forbids. It's not even an option. It's not even a discussion. But God forbids it. Well, think about it. When you call on adorning yourself, you get into that mirror and you put the fake hair on, whatever way you want to put it, you shape it and you mold it, this and that. You fix your eyes, and if it don't look right, you come back because you're looking for a certain look because you want your body to say a certain something. You got to be even careful for why you dress the way you dress. You might put on a certain type of dress. Now, and it may have a holy appearance, but in your mind, you're putting it on for another reason that's not too holy. Mercy. And believe me, when you put it on, because you know why you put it on, you walk in the spirit that you're being guided by. And then somebody might look and say, honey, you wearing that dress because you meant to wear that dress. And you meant for people to see you wearing that dress. When the body speaks. When the body speaks. God forbid that we allow our body actions to portray this world, to speak ungodliness. In Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16, God said, moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, they're proud, and they walk, notice what he said, with stretched forth necks and wanting eyes. They fix their eyes up. Desire, walking and missing as they go. Missing means switching. Notice what he said. The daughters of Zion are haughty, they're proud. Why do you say that? Because they walk with stretched forth necks. With wanting eyes. They fix their eyes to be desirous in order to missing, switching as they walk. And I've seen it done in churches. Haughty means proud. The proverb says one of the 7 things that God hates is a proud look. And this is how God describes a proud look. Notice what he's describing. He's describing body language. Making a tingling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with the scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and will discover their secret parts. In that day the Lord will take away all the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, their cords, their round tires, like the moon, the chains, the bracelets, and the muscles, the bonnets, the ornaments of the leg. the handbands, the tablets, and the earrings, the rings, and the nose jewels, and the changeable suits of pearls, the mantles, and the whimpers, and the crimson things, the glasses, and the fine linen, the hoods, and the veils. He said he's going to take it all away. That outer show. Why is he going to take all these things away? Because they're for outer appearance. And no flesh shall glory in his presence. Amen. They're not wearing this to glorify him, but they're doing it to glorify them. When the body speaks, he described the pride of the daughters of Zion by the way they carry themselves. Stretched forth neck, switching as they walk. What does your body say? If we were to read your body language, what would it say? Is it speaking the Lord? Now somebody says, that doesn't make sense, Bishop. Well, okay. The scripture do say we shall be judged for every deed done in the body. Amen. And it did say, glorify the Lord in your spirit and your body, which is the Lord's. Yes, Lord. It did say that. Don't you know that sometimes physical gestures can hurt people just as bad as words that are not properly spoken? Amen. You understand what I'm saying? Amen. Just like somebody has a tongue that when they get you talking, boy, they're going to rip you all to pieces. Mercy Jesus. Bodily gestures can do the same thing. Can do the same thing. Someone comes up that maybe you got a problem with, and they come up to shake your hand, and there are people around, and everybody sees it, including you. Everybody sees the hand going out, and you're just talking like you don't even see it. Amen. And if that person is not strong enough, it's going to bruise their heart. And yet you didn't say anything. You said nothing, but your body gesture spoke volumes. Amen. They carried the same weight as words. But you didn't say anything, but you did. You said a whole lot. You know, whether you should have or not, but you said a whole lot. So then we need to be careful how we walk. Yes, Lord. Be careful to take heed to our every movement and the motives behind the reason why we act the way we do. If Abner had been watching Joab, he might not have been killed. Because when Abner came to make peace with David, and Joab heard about it, he went to Abner as though he were friends. And Abner rubbed his beard or something with an unusual hand. Now, Joab grabbed Abner's beard like my friend with an unusual hand. And Abner, being a man of war, if he had been paying attention, he would have said, why is Joab using this hand to do that? And I believe it was with his main hand, so everything is cool. But then he came with the lesser hand with a sword and went through his fifth rib, went through his rib. He threw him off. And took him down. And David was heartbroken. Everybody thought David set Abner up, but when they saw David's physical response, how he cried, and he cried, his body language showed he was innocent. Amen. And yet, the way you look and act can be deceiving. When Samuel was sent to the house of Jesse to get a king, the first son came with a big, strong man. And when he came in, everything about his body showed strength. And Samuel said, surely this is the one. God says no. He said, I've already rejected him. God said, I've already looked at his heart. His body language showed that he's strong and big. God said, but his heart's not right. So you don't want to deceive somebody by the way they act. Believe not every spirit, but because you see somebody do something unusual, don't be quick to label it unless you know for sure.
Amen.
You see, because you could get it wrong. I feel a virtue.
Amen.
I feel a strong virtue when I said that for some reason. Understand, I feel a very strong virtue. Understand what I'm saying, because you can misread people's body languages as well. And get it wrong. You can misread someone by the way their body's moving, the way they look. You think, oh, they have a part. But as one proverb says, because you look the part don't mean you qualify.
Amen.
Doesn't mean it at all. When the body speaks. And so there's a dispute, and the parties involved are arguing, and someone says, you disrespected me. And they'll say, I didn't disrespect you. And you say, yes, you did. The other person said, I didn't say anything to you. Ask anybody, did I say anything to you? No, you didn't have to say anything to me. It's what you did. And you ask the witness, did I say anything? Well, no, what you did look kind of funny. What you did could have been taken that way.